Should be having me worried as a daddy, bro. Like,
Boosie's son has sparked major controversy after being accused of going after Kodak Black over some heated words thrown at his dad. And now the entire hip-hop scene is buzzing while the authorities are keeping a close eye on everything. Behind all those flashy Instagram posts and bold talk, Tutti Raw was allegedly caught up with some serious hardware, including modified weapons and illegal accessories. These actions reportedly led to federal attention, along with rising tensions and safety concerns involving several artists. On top of that, he's facing accusations of interfering with officers and weapon-related charges that could carry heavy penalties. But the truth about how this whole situation exploded is deeper than anyone thought. We're talking secret messages, bold claims, and threats that have fans and rappers alike watching every move. Reports say Tutti was making extreme statements online, saying he was ready to catch a rapper and bragging about it like it was a game. He's also rumored to have been keeping tabs on Lil Crick since 2023, which has only added more fuel to this already blazing fire. Now, people are wondering if these online threats were just talk or if things were really about to get dangerous.
I wouldn't know what to do. My son get a murder charge, bro. Like, I gotta stop him from crashing out, bro. Like, then it worried me more. All them little around him clutching, all them little clutching, man. You know, easy for something to happen, bro. Like, should be having me worried as a daddy, bro. Like,
the hip-hop world is on edge, and this situation is no longer just music drama. It's turned into a serious legal storm with potential long-term consequences. Yo, what's good, fam? Let's break this all down and see how this street tension spiraled into one of the most talked about feuds in recent hip-hop history. Social media has been going crazy about Boosie's son, Tutti Raw, supposedly losing control after Kodak Black dropped that disrespectful track about his dad. But let's break it down for real, because there's way more to this story than what's been flying around online. This drama didn't just pop up overnight. It's been bubbling since 2023, with roots stretching even further back. It all started when Kodak Black was offered a $1 million deal to hop on a track with Tekashi 6ix9ine. Like anyone chasing a major paycheck, Kodak said yes. But that one decision kicked off a chain reaction that's still shaking the game today, sparking online beefs, legal issues, and serious tension between artists. Now don't get it twisted, this isn't just another rap argument that's gonna fade in a few weeks. Tutti's reportedly facing major legal pressure, with allegations involving restricted weapons while he's still out on bond.
you get older, you be like, bro, like, how the f you 40 years old still gotta look over your shoulder, you know, from your past. That's a f***ed up feeling. When you gotta go especially when you go in your city, you gotta look everywhere over your shoulder. Like, that shit wasn't worth it. The respect you got for anything you did ain't worth you being a older man looking over your motherfucking shoulder.
That's right.
And instead of staying quiet, he's been making strong statements online toward other artists, keeping the whole situation under a microscope. This is the kind of drama that can change lives forever, and the internet is watching every move. But here's where things really heat up. Back in 2023, when Kodak took that $1 million offer to collaborate with Tekashi 6ix9ine, it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. For those who don't know, 6ix9ine became one of the most controversial figures in hip-hop history after testifying against his own crew to shorten his sentence. We're talking about a guy who exposed everyone around him just to protect himself. And when Kodak took that $1 million offer, it sent shockwaves through the entire rap scene. But here's the wild part. 6ix9ine wasn't playing around. He was moving smart, using major artists to rebuild his image and prove that even the most respected rappers might still work with him if the check was big enough. Then Kodak dropped on Drink Champs and dropped a line that had everyone's jaws hitting the floor. He said, $1 million is $1 million. I don't even know the people he told on, and I ain't even from over there. That's y'all rap. That one statement set the internet on fire. It showed how deep the money versus loyalty debate runs in hip-hop, because it made people question if morals and principles can really hold up when there's serious money on the table. But this drama wasn't just about a single collab or a single fat paycheck. It was about the bigger question. Can street rappers really separate business moves from street credibility? Kodak basically said that street politics don't apply when it comes to getting paid, and that statement split the culture down the middle. Some fans called it smart business, while others saw it as a total betrayal of the street code. And here's the twist. Kodak wasn't entirely wrong from a business perspective. The music industry has always been about securing the bag first and everything else second.
Me and fucking all about to do a song with a nigga who, like, I don't even know the niggas he told on.
Went in on
and I ain't even from over there. Niggas on some shit like, nigga, that's y'all rap. I know only nigga squeeze this nigga out some cheese, homie. Yeah. I know so do some shit like, y'all ain't finna do nothing. Y'all ain't even squeeze a nigga out some money.
But when your entire brand is built on being real and loyal to the streets, taking money from someone who's seen as the biggest informant in hip-hop history looks like the ultimate sellout move. And people are still debating if Kodak crossed the line or just played the game better than anyone else. In street culture and hip-hop, being labeled as someone who cooperates with authorities is seen as the ultimate betrayal, a line you just don't cross. Once that trust is broken, there's no real coming back, no second chances, no redemption. But Boosie's situation hit differently because he's always been known for standing firm on his principles and calling out what he sees as violations of the street code, even when it cost him business and friendships. When Boosie found out about Kodak's collaboration with 6ix9ine, he didn't just believe the rumors, he called Kodak's brother himself to confirm it. Once it was verified, Boosie said it hit him hard, like a personal betrayal, and he had no choice but to cut Kodak off completely. That's some real emotion right there, losing respect for someone you once saw as solid. Boosie even said it felt like a detrimental move to him, showing just how deep that disappointment ran. He made it clear that Kodak's decision came with consequences, saying straight up that Kodak would have to stand on his choice. And honestly, Boosie wasn't off base about the ripple effect it caused. Kodak's move opened the door for other artists to start working with 6ix9ine, and that shook the foundation of hip-hop's long-standing no-cooperation mindset. Now here's where things get tricky. On one side, you got the old-school street rules that say you never do business with someone who's broken the code, no matter the reason or the money involved. But on the other hand, some artists argue that business is business and loyalty doesn't always pay the bills. On one side, you got the old school mentality that stands firm on loyalty and code. But on the other hand, the modern rap game is shifting. Being seen cooperating or switching sides isn't viewed the same way anymore. Some artists are now choosing money over morals, putting business first and street principles second. The real twist? Kodak's decision sparked a massive debate about whether that old street code even fits in today's music world. Some fans gave him props for keeping it real and being honest about chasing the bag, while others said he sold out everything hip-hop was built on. That split in opinions laid the groundwork for all the tension we're seeing right now. Fast forward to 2024, and Kodak's in a whole different headspace. People close to him have said he's been battling some heavy personal struggles, possibly linked to substance issues that might be clouding his judgment and fueling impulsive decisions.
And when you mix bad habits, unresolved rivalries, and pride, that's a recipe for disaster. Things really started spiraling when Kodak dropped that diss track aimed right at Boosie, and the timing had everyone talking. He dropped it the day before Boosie had to appear in court, which made it look like he was purposely trying to add pressure to an already stressful situation. That move had fans questioning his motives big time. In the track, Kodak didn't hold back. He took aim at Boosie with some deeply personal shots, saying Boosie was bitter because he couldn't sign him back in the day. He basically implied that Boosie was jealous of his success and independence. And on top of that, Kodak threw shade by saying Boosie wasn't moving like a true OG, directly challenging his street credibility and leadership status in the culture. Kodak came straight for Boosie's pride, calling him outdated and saying he only stays in the spotlight when he mentions big names like himself or NBA YoungBoy. The song itself, it actually sounded solid, no lie, but the lyrics were crafted to sting. Every bar was aimed to hit Boosie on both a personal and professional level. Kodak clearly knew which buttons to press to get a reaction, and he pressed every single one at the worst possible time. Boosie wasn't about to stay quiet after that. He jumped on Twitter and started venting in real time, posting a string of heated tweets that showed just how frustrated and hurt he was about Kodak's timing and the words fired at him. The first tweet went viral fast. Boosie wrote, "You wait until the day before I go to court to drop a weak diss song? LOL, you a clout-chasing crackhead. You know what I got going on, and you do this the day before court. You a real clown." That tweet alone had the internet on fire. Calling someone that kind of name in hip-hop is wild disrespect. But Boosie didn't stop there.
he doubled down with more. In another post, he said, "When's the last time you heard somebody say, 'Put on that new Kodak'? You done, bro. Your career is over, your music trash, and your looks even worse. Only time you relevant is when you mention me or Young B." Those were harsh words, no doubt, going straight for Kodak's reputation, his music, and even his image. But Boosie wasn't holding anything back, and fans could tell this beef had turned deeply personal. The most cutting moment came when Boosie tweeted, "I know you gonna be holding that phone like Pookie off New Jack City waiting on bad news." That line had the whole internet talking. Pure disrespect mixed with old school insult energy. This feud wasn't just lyrical anymore, it was straight up war on social media. After Boosie's wild Twitter outburst, the internet exploded. Fans were split right down the middle. Half of them were backing Boosie for standing on his principles, while the other half said he took things way too far. Within hours, hip-hop blogs, podcasts, and gossip pages were flooded with hot takes, and every major YouTube commentator was breaking down the feud like it was a heavyweight match. People were asking, is this real beef or just publicity? But from the way things looked, it was definitely personal. Kodak didn't stay quiet either. He fired back with his own live stream, laughing off Boosie's words and calling him too emotional. He told his fans, "I ain't worried about dude, he just mad cause I'm still making hits." Kodak tried to play it cool, but you could tell from his tone that Boosie's words had gotten under his skin. He even hinted that he might drop another track, saying, "I could end his whole image with one verse if I wanted to." That statement has social media in a frenzy, with everyone waiting to see if another disc was coming. Meanwhile, industry insiders started chiming in. Some OG rappers urged both sides to chill before things went too far, while others said it was too late for peace. Even people who normally stayed quiet about rap beef started posting subliminals, adding more tension to the fire. What really shocked people, though, was how fast the situation escalated from music to real life. Rumors started floating that certain people around both camps were getting too involved, and that's when folks realized this was no longer just an internet feud. Boosie went all in, saying Kodak would be up all night stressing, trying to cope and wishing bad on him. A major shot meant to humiliate him publicly. He basically painted a picture of Kodak sitting there waiting on bad news about Boosie's court situation. Then Boosie hit him with one of the hardest disses you can throw in street culture. He said, "One thing that won't happen though, I won't be checking PC like you did." Now, for those who don't know, PC stands for protective custody, which is where someone's placed in isolation for safety while locked up. Boosie was basically saying that, unlike Kodak, he'd never need that kind of protection, calling out Kodak's toughness on the highest level. That's a serious challenge to a person's image in the streets. But Boosie wasn't done yet. He ended his rant with a hashtag that took things to another level, CCCE, which stood for Clout Chasing Crackhead Energy. He literally made a whole acronym just to take another hit, showing just how heated and disappointed he really was. The internet went wild with the hashtag, turning it into a meme overnight. Fans were reposting it, remixing it, and picking sides like it was a rap civil war. But this is where things started getting even messier, because Boosie's son, Tutti Raw, suddenly got pulled into the mix. This is the same young man who had already been dealing with serious legal issues, facing multiple federal weapons charges that sound straight out of a video game. We're talking about charges for illegal possession of modified firearms, restricted accessories, and even interference with officers, all of which can lead to decades, not just years, behind bars. These aren't small-time local charges that can be negotiated down. Federal cases carry mandatory minimum sentences that judges can't easily change. But instead of staying low-key and letting his legal team handle things quietly, Tutti decided to move like he had something to prove. And that decision might have made his situation even worse. Instead of staying quiet and letting things cool down, Tutti decided to jump straight into his dad's feud, and he went all in. This was risky behavior for someone already dealing with serious legal issues, and it only brought more heat his way. He hopped on Instagram and posted, "I'm in the streets with this for real. Go ask your big dog about Lil Raww, dude. I'll put that belt down on you, dude, and I ain't got no pics with this." Then he added, "I'm ready for whoever against me. We on y'all." Now that post had everyone's attention because Tutti was still out on federal bond at the time. The phrase "put that belt down" is slang for taking serious action against someone, and "I ain't got no pics with this" basically means he's not showing what he's got online, keeping things low-key but still making a strong statement. When he said "we on y'all," that came off as a direct threat towards anyone going against him or his family. Not a smart move when the feds are already watching.
But here's what really made it worse. Tootie's been trying to prove he's solid for years. Some people online kept clowning him, saying he's just Boosie's privileged son who never really had to struggle like that. That kind of talk cuts deep, especially for someone trying to earn respect in the streets. And instead of ignoring the noise, Tootie fed right into it by reacting publicly, which only gave his critics more fuel. Then came the real plot twist. Lil Crix, a rapper from Kodak's circle down in Florida, jumped into the mix. He started mocking Tootie's posts, laughing at his threats, and even reposting them online. That's when things got tense for real. Fans could feel the energy shift. It wasn't just social media talk anymore. It was starting to feel like something that could spill into real life. And here's what most people didn't know. Tootie had reportedly been trying to confront Lil Crix since back in 2023, meaning this drama had been simmering long before the internet even caught on. This situation had been brewing for over a year, not just some quick online argument. It turned into a long stretch of online tension and aggressive back and forth that showed this wasn't only about defending his dad's name. It was about a young man desperately trying to prove himself and earn a certain kind of respect, even if it meant crossing dangerous lines. Lil Crix eventually posted screenshots showing that Tootie had been in his DMs for months, sending message after message trying to start drama. Crix didn't even take him seriously at first. He ignored most of the messages, probably thinking Tootie was just talking tough. But that silence only made Tootie more intense. His messages started getting heated, filled with aggressive language and threats that had fans seriously concerned about how far he might take things. In one message, Tootie wrote things like, "You ain't like that, boy. Come to the A and play and see what happens," and "You won't make it back," basically daring Crix to show up in his city. He even sent another message saying, "I ain't gonna look for you, but if you pull up, we'll see what happens for real." Then he took it further, throwing shade about Crix's career and money, saying, "Kodak don't even care about you and you still broke. I never signed a deal and I'm richer than you." But the message that had everyone's jaw on the floor was when Tootie said something that made it sound like he wanted to make an example out of someone, talking about how he'd been waiting for a moment to prove himself and go viral for it. He even said, "Every day of my life, I'm ready for anybody that want to test me." That line alone made fans realize this was no longer harmless internet talk. It was starting to sound like someone truly losing control of their emotions. That last message exposed everything about where Tootie's head was at. It wasn't just about clashing with someone. It was about chasing attention and trying to go viral for it. He didn't want people to just know him as Boosie's son. He wanted the internet to see him as someone tough, someone feared, someone real. And that right there is dangerous energy, because when someone starts treating violence like a shortcut to fame and respect, they're walking straight into self-destruction. That kind of thinking shows a young man who's ready to risk everything, his freedom, his future, his reputation, all for online clout and street credibility. He's not talking about protecting himself or standing up for his family. He's talking about making a public statement just to prove a point. And the scariest part is that he believes that's what will finally earn him respect in the streets. But to really understand why Tootie's acting this reckless, you gotta look at the pressure that comes with being a celebrity's kid, especially in hip-hop. From day one, people assume you're soft because you didn't have to come up the hard way like your parents did. They think money and comfort made you weak, not realizing the mental pressure that comes with always being compared to a legend. Tootie's been carrying that weight his whole life. No matter what he does, people see him as Boosie's son, not his own man. They point out how he grew up in nice homes, went to good schools, and had opportunities most kids in the streets never got. They don't see a young man trying to build his own identity. They see a privileged kid trying too hard to play street. Every time Tootie posts online, the comments section turns into a battlefield. Fans flood his page calling him soft, fake, and privileged, like they're just waiting to tear him down. That kind of constant disrespect can mess with anyone's head, and for someone trying to prove themselves, it can easily push them to make reckless choices just to silence the hate. But here's what makes Tootie's story way more complicated. Boosie really did expose him to parts of that street lifestyle from early on. When Tootie was just a little kid, he was around his dad when serious things were going on,
real life situations, not just stories and songs. So he's not completely disconnected from that world like some other celebrity kids who grew up far away from it. He's seen a glimpse of that life up close, but what he's missing is the experience and understanding that come with surviving it. The real issue is that Tootie's trying to live up to his dad's image without realizing what it actually took to build it. Boosie didn't just earn respect overnight. He went through years of real struggles, serious losses, and major sacrifices. He did time, lost close friends, and fought his way to stay alive and relevant in a world that doesn't show mercy. That kind of history doesn't come from pretending. It comes from pain and survival. Now, as Tootie gets older, he's starting to see his dad more like a challenge instead of a protector. Boosie's always been careful with his kids, trying to keep them away from the same dangerous path that nearly ruined his own life. But Tootie doesn't see it as protection, he sees it as doubt. In his mind, his dad's just another person who doesn't believe he's tough enough, and that builds resentment. Instead of appreciating the safety Boosie's given him, he's using it as motivation to prove he's just as real, even if it means risking everything to do it. That resentment has turned into straight-up rebellion. Tootie's no longer just trying to make music or chase fame. He's out here trying to prove that he's built from the same cloth as his dad, no matter the cost. The problem is, the world he's living in now isn't the same one Boosie came up in. Back then, street life and hip-hop had clear lines. Now, everything's online. Every move gets recorded, and every mistake goes viral. Instead of proving strength, Tootie's public outbursts are just giving the feds more evidence and the internet more material to clown him with. What he sees as keeping it real is actually playing out like self-sabotage in real time. Fans are starting to notice that his actions don't just hurt his own image, they're putting more pressure on Boosie too. Every time Tootie goes viral for something wild, Boosie's name gets dragged back into headlines right alongside him.
And that's the sad part, because Boosie really does love his son and has tried multiple times to guide him toward music and business, not trouble. He's told them on camera before, "I don't want my kids to go through what I went through. I want them to win different." But Tootie doesn't hear that message as love. He hears it as limitation, like his dad's trying to hold him back from earning respect the hard way. Now, with all the drama, court cases, and public beefs piling up, people are starting to worry that Tootie's spiraling too fast to pull himself out. The streets might cheer him on for acting tough, but the law and the industry don't see it that way. What looks like real to fans online could easily turn into a lifetime of consequences if he keeps moving reckless. Let's break down the real situation Tootie's facing right now. Legally, things are looking serious. He's already dealing with federal weapons charges that could land him behind bars for anywhere from 10 to 20 years, maybe more. And on top of that, he's been posting aggressive messages online that prosecutors could easily use in court to argue that he's a public safety risk, someone who deserves the toughest sentence available. What most people don't realize is that every post, every message, and every threat shared online can turn into solid evidence. Federal agents are always watching, and right now they're likely collecting everything Tootie's ever said or posted to build a case showing that he's exactly the kind of person these gun laws were designed to stop. Someone who uses weapons or violent talk to intimidate others instead of walking away. Now, for anyone not familiar with federal law, owning or modifying restricted firearms like sawed-off shotguns, silencers, or automatic weapons isn't just a bad look, it's a serious felony that carries mandatory minimum sentences. That means even if a judge wants to go easy, their hands are tied. The law demands real prison time. And making aggressive threats while already out on bond, that's just asking the court to revoke it and tack on even more charges. But this situation isn't just about Tootie, Boosie, or Kodak anymore. It's part of a bigger problem in hip-hop culture. Too many young men are being pressured to prove their authenticity through danger and aggression instead of music and grind. The whole "I'm real" mindset has shifted from proving yourself with lyrics and hustle to proving it through chaos, and it's costing people their futures. And let's keep it real. When the sons of famous rappers start posting about violence and acting like that's the way to earn respect, it sends a damaging message to the next generation.
Young fans start believing that clout and confrontation are the only ways to get noticed. There's absolutely nothing cool about risking your entire future just to look tough online or earn street credibility. Tootie's got opportunities that most people can only dream of. Money, connections, and a platform big enough to make a real difference. He could be using all that energy to build something positive, launching businesses, creating jobs, helping his community, or even inspiring the next generation. But instead, he's chasing the same self-destructive path that nearly took his father down, and it's heartbreaking to watch. At this point, Tootie's situation isn't really about defending his dad's honor or proving his toughness anymore. It's about a young man with every advantage in life who's being pulled toward the most dangerous lane possible, driven by cultural pressure, insecurity, and a deep craving for validation. It's the same toxic pattern that's been trapping young men in the music game for decades, where proving yourself through chaos is treated like a badge of honor. What started as a debate between Kodak and Boosie about loyalty, money, and street codes is now spiraled into something much darker. A young man publicly posting threats and talking about going viral for violence. That's not a rap battle anymore. That's a real-life situation with serious consequences waiting to happen. And here's the bigger picture. This isn't just one family's problem. It's a reflection of a wider issue in hip-hop and street culture. Too often, we glorify aggression instead of ambition, and young men grow up thinking respect only comes through danger instead of discipline. Until that mindset changes, we're going to keep seeing bright, talented people throw away their futures for temporary clout and false respect. The real question now is, will Tootie wake up before it's too late? Will he learn from Boosie's hard-earned lessons, or will he have to go through the same pain himself to understand that this path doesn't lead anywhere good? Because if he keeps pushing the line, he's not just risking his time behind bars, he's risking his life, his legacy, and his chance to become something way greater than just another headline. Now, Boosie is watching his son walk down the same dark path, maybe even worse, because Tootie's making bold statements and threats while already fighting serious federal charges. That's not strength, that's straight-up bad decision-making. There's nothing tough about risking your freedom for attention or trying to impress people who don't really care about you. So what do you think about Tootie's situation and where this could all lead? Do you believe he's really built for that kind of lifestyle? Or is this just a young man caught up in trying to prove something to the wrong crowd? And when it comes to Boosie, should he be stepping in harder to guide his son? Or is Tootie old enough to face the fallout of his own choices? Because this whole story raises a deeper question about hip-hop culture. Are we raising young men to chase power and validation instead of peace and purpose? Let me know what you think down below. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more real talk on what's happening in the culture.